Hello and welcome to Gin and TARDIS, a spin-off from the Doctor Who show. I'm Dave.
I'm Richard.
I'm back.
I'm Rob.
And gentlemen, this is our 9th Gin and TARDIS episode.
Wow.
So Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have all four of you here. Now, we realised, having done 8 of these already, we're now at the point where we're starting to do Doctors for a second time. We've done 2 Collins, we've done 2 Toms, and thank you to everyone in the audience who said some really cool comments about our Gin and TARDIS on the Mark of the Rani last time.
Yes.
Which I thought we'd maybe been a little bit too down on that, but a lot of people said it was a good epised and very fair. So
Okay.
And thank you very much for the one person who said they missed me. So thank you very much for that as well. So yes, Comedy Sontaran is back.
That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But of course, now that we have started going back to other Doctors, we realise we haven't done any Patrick Troughton. The problem being that when we set up this podcast concept, we said that the rules would be, must be classic,
Yeah.
4 parts or less,
Yes.
and it must exist.
Yes.
And there's also the sort of the unofficial 4th rule, which is it needs to be something that we haven't seen again and again and again,
Yeah, for sure.
and so we can perhaps find something to react to.
Yeah.
Now the problem being, there's really no Troughton stories that fit those 4 criteria, because there's only 2 4-parters that exist.
Yes.
Tomb we've seen many times since it was found again. I
Yes.
think it's all great. The Crotons has been repeated at least 3 times in our lifetime. And we've probably all had copies, and we think it's not great. So we're going to experiment a bit here, and we're going back to the Lost in Time DVD box set from 2004, which I'll talk about a bit in a moment. And we're going to look at 4 loose episodes from the Troughton era. I'll say at this point, although Rob Irwin is not here on the couch, he is back in the Doctor Who show studios in Sydney and always does a great job of putting together and editing our Gin and TARDIS episodes. And look, if you think that what we say on air is pretty loose, he gets to hear all the stuff that's cut. Could probably end most of our careers if he released some of that stuff. But Rob, thank you very much for helping with this experiment. I know the edit for this will be a slightly harder piece of work than normal, so we do all appreciate it.
Agree. So this is like a bit of a Troughton Pick'n'Mix, isn't it, Dave? Bit of like a mix of all this Pick and Mix, which is sort of a reflection of Troughton's personal life as well. He's a bit of a top shelf shagger, wasn't he? So
First right there.
Gents, you looking forward to this?
yes.
Yes, I have not watched any of the episodes, I think, under review here for quite some time, so this will be quite interesting.
When did this set come out? Was it 2004?
Yeah, so I was going to mention that. This came out in 2004.
Right.
In a couple of cases, I reckon these are the first times that they were released at all, because I don't remember a couple of these episodes getting released on VHS. What I think is really interesting, and it says something about where fandom and Doctor Who was in 2004, is that I'm sure we'll talk about the year's tapes and some of the compilations as we look at some of these episodes later on, but they all had various different levels of tops and tails and backgrounds and explanations. Clearly the BBC has decided by 2004, you know what, just smack all the episodes onto a box set.
Fans will buy it.
If it's the sort of fan who is buying a collection of orphaned episodes of Doctor Who, they've probably got a program guide at the very least on the shelf. So we're not going to worry about that. But I do remember being very excited by this release, because it was, of course, the first time Daleks Master Plan Episode 2 was released, which still feels like a new episode to me, even though it's 21 years ago.
Oh my God.
That's frightening, isn't it? No, I was very excited when this box set came out. I remember sitting down and watching it and mourning the fact that, you couldn't follow on to the next episode for a lot of the stories, but glorying in the fact that they're actually available. It was very rare to be able
And
to
your
say
name's
something
on
like
this, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is too.
Yeah.
Yes, well, less said about that, the better.
Come on, Rob.
Well, it's the power of the
Credit where
Daleks
it's due.
clips, which I tangentially helped find. So,
so
in the mid-90s, which is even longer ago than the release of these.
You got a credit for it.
I have a credit.
But you didn't get a free copy, though.
No, but the eternal love of a grateful fandom is enough to keep me going.
Well, find the episode next time, you'll get more.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Now, before we go on and watch the first episode, we just should make mention we're recording on a bit of a sad day.
Yes, Christopher H. Bidmead unfortunately passed away. The news came through. Yeah, that's a bit of a... That's very sad, actually.
Yeah, no, it was one of those ones where you do sort of go, oh, that is sad, because the news only broke about 2 hours before we came in to record this. And look, I'll just say he is responsible for one of my absolute top 2, top 3 seasons of Doctor Who. I think it's very rare someone can look at a season and go, that is down to a particular creative.
Yes.
Sure, he had J&T fresh and dynamic with the production. He had Barry Letts, I think, did a lot more as EP than a lot of people give him credit for.
Absolutely.
But look, that season is Christopher H. Bidmead's vision,
Yeah.
and it's a really, really good season. So, yeah, that's a bit sad.
It is sad, actually. And after that, he did Castrovalva. He did Frontios as well.
Frontios is a great
which is a really
story.
good story. And I was just, on the drive over here, I was going, it's an absolute shame he wasn't asked back to do more. I mean, I know he was asked to do a Colin Baker one, but he's probably lost interest by then. But in terms of those Davisons, he should have been a bit more, should have been allowed to do some more. Yeah, it's a shame.
I think it's a great shame he never did a new adventure.
It would have been interesting, actually.
Would have been interesting.
He did a big finish, though. It wasn't very good, I'll be honest. It was a Dalek one.
Anyway.
You're not selling it, Mark. But
Yeah. Anyway, we are here to watch some Patrick Troughton. The first episode we're going to watch is The Underwater Menace Part 3.
Now, there was a little debate here about whether we were going to watch Part 2 or Part 3, but Part 3 did win out.
Well, in the end, we decided to stick to the Lost in Time box set.
Yes.
So this was the one that was available at that one.
Let's DVD swaps.
We will talk about our memories, our reactions of that on the other side of this break.
Let's go.
So we have just watched The Underwater Menace Part 3 and a first for our Gin and TARDIS watchings. At the end of that episode, as the credits rolled, a round of applause.
In fact, keep it going.
We imbibed Underwater Menace 3. We have become one with that episode.
That was sensational.
Oh, my God.
I don't think I have been entertained by 25 minutes of television this year,
And
other than that. That
didn't feel like 25 minutes.
No,
It
That
didn't.
flew.
No.
It absolutely flew. So let's just talk about our thoughts going into this one. And I just want to start with what I'm fairly sure is a fact. I reckon, notwithstanding episodes that were subsequently found, this was the last episode of Classic Who that I actually saw. Partly because it was very hard to come by a copy,
Yeah.
and partly because its reputation was it is one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who. So when you're tape swapping, it wasn't high on the list. But I reckon I might not have seen it until this came out in 2004.
Right.
But it was definitely the last classic episode I saw, again, other than what was found since.
Yeah.
And I've only watched it a couple of times since. What about you guys?
I reckon the first time I saw it was one of the Whoventions in Sydney, and it was late night on the Friday or Saturday night, and they showed 5 really bad episodes of Doctor Who. There was like an episode of The Web Planet, I think there was one from Monster of Peladon, but the Troughton they chose was this. Oh. And sitting in a room full of fans, it was a bit like watching it here, actually. It was a lot of laughing and a lot of cheering and whatever. But you're right, this had for a long time, this was the earliest Patrick Troughton episode that was available.
Correct.
Yes.
And he'd had a terrible reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, no, that was great watching that. I think watching it in company really helped.
Oh, no,
but
you couldn't get the
half a
same
bottle of
reaction, I
gin.
think, if you watched it by yourself.
No.
It does have in a group, it does have a really boundless energy. I mean, it just races along, as we've discovered. I looked at my watch and thought, it's time dilated, and we've somehow lost it. Look, it does have its low moments. I mean, the fish people floating around backwards and stuff like that is not the height of 60s television.
I was about to say, when was the first time you watched it?
It would have to have been on this set, because going to club meetings at Doctor Who in Victoria, I was never one for sitting down and watching video, and then I had, unlike Mark here, who had a constant stream of pirate videos making their way from the UK, I never had any contact, so it was definitely this. Yeah.
So that'd be what, the second or third time you've seen it?
I'd say second time, yeah. I mean, obviously you read about its reputation, you come to it with a particular mindset, but I mean, watching it today, that was fantastic. That was really great.
It was crazy. It is actually, as they say with the Bond series, it was proper bonkers.
Yeah.
It was.
As Rob just added me, yes, I did have a pirate copy I got in the late 80s. I think I watched it once then and never really went back to it apart from this set because it was pretty bad. I did watch it maybe last year when it came out with the animation. So in terms of its totality of that story, watched it with 2 and 3 and everything like that. But just watching it in isolation, I didn't know what the hell was going on. But it was bonkers and it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. We were having a great time watching it. I mean, Joseph first. Give the man a bloody Oscar.
He really has just decided this is what the part requires, and he has just gone for it.
He's not even chewing the furniture. He's having a 4-course meal.
So the two things that stood out for me is I don't think all of the design choices work.
No.
But clearly a lot of effort has gone into this.
Absolutely. Someone has spent a lot of time putting those sets and costumes together.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily work, but someone has thought about what does this world look like? Let's give it a real under-the-sea aesthetic, lots of shell designs, lots of seaweed designs. It makes a lot of sense. It looks terrible. but some real thought has gone into that. And kid actors as well.
Yes, actually.
The marketplace actually feels like a proper marketplace.
Yes. More of a marketplace than the one they had in Castrovalva, if I seem to remember.
I don't like Mark of the Running. They're not digging coal or whatever.
They're having fun.
And the other thing was, though, look, this felt like kids' TV. This felt like, Teabag was about to walk in and zap people or something. It's very, very lowbrow. It's lots of look over there, smack. Lots of he's faking a heart attack. Just every kids' TV show cliche you could have. But it almost works because you're right. Joseph Firth just goes for it.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a lot of tonal shifts in it as well. I mean, there's clearly the childish aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then there's Joseph First sticking a spear into the back of one of
right.
the chief priest, and you go, okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, it is an engaging 25 minutes.
And I mean, it's not in this, but I mean, there is that quite nasty scene at the end of part 1 where they're about to operate on Polly.
Yes.
And they've sort of got her pinned down on the table and they're about to give her the injection and stuff.
Yeah.
So, there are darker moments to this.
Yeah, well, there were a few things in the Rod Scott centre clips that that were seen from this.
And indeed, Zaroff drowns. So we watched Zaroff drown at the end of part 4.
Yeah.
So,
it's totally all over the shop, isn't it, really?
Well, so speaking of Rod Scott, who was a member of the committee with us and did a lot of very interesting projects back in the day, he has got a long-form interview with Joseph First.
Actually.
We have occasionally tried to tell the people out there that make the box sets and the DVDs that there is a proper long-form interview with Joseph First out there that nobody's bothered to track down. But he talks about how much he enjoyed doing this, but how much he suffered during the drowning scene, because that was several hours in a tank.
I
think I got an extract of that interview, and I put it on one of our episodes of 42 to Doomsday.
You did, that's
yes,
right.
you did.
Yeah,
it was a proper long interview because Joseph First spent his later years here in Australia down, I think, on the New South Wales South Coast.
Yeah,
I think from
Couldn't
memory.
keep away from the ocean, clearly.
No,
look, I really, really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
the music did great, I'll be honest with you.
That's GRATE, is that right?
That's really, pretty much.
And look, again, Dudley Simpson has clearly decided, what can I do that's different, that makes this sound like it's aquatic? I get what he's going for. Again, lots of effort. Doesn't work.
But one thing we did notice when they're doing the underwater ballet scenes was that it's obviously on canopy wires and everything like that. But, like, there's bubbles.
In the front,
the bubbles must have done some sort of
projection or
overlay
something,
or something. So that the attention to detail, they're trying to convey a underwater presence, whatever, and obviously Troughton then turns into Arthur Scargill and starting strikes and all sort of stuff.
I thought you were going to say when he's wearing his basically.
What is he wearing?
Like the sunglasses on and the little headscarf.
And the headscarf,
It's like he's gone to San Francisco for a couple of hours and, had a great time coming back.
So what explains then the fact that the episode is everywhere at once? That there are violence, that there's sort of confronting violence with the stabbing, and then there's just, childish aspects. Why is it just sort of a mess? Do we have a theory?
Is it that they're trying to work out what the Troughton era is? Because you've just had Power of the Daleks, which is a typical David Whittaker sci-fi Dalek story. Highlanders, old school historical. Then they're doing this. Then they go and do the Moonbase, which is, I guess, more what we think of a Troughton story
It's
being.
probably where the Troughton era, as we remember it, probably starts. I mean,
Yeah.
it's helped by the fact, I think, let's face it, that's really where you start to get some episodes you can actually watch.
It's based on
But
the siege,
they have also phased out that thing of Troughton getting into costume and
God.
into disguises and whatever. I mean, this is the last time he does it.
Yeah, because he's the washerwoman in the story before this.
That's right, and a soldier.
That's right, yes.
Yes.
I wonder if this is just a real hard... Because Power and Highlanders, you could put Hartnell in that, and it would work basically without changing the script, other than maybe dressing as a washerwoman. Whereas this one, there's no way Hartnell
Would put on, let's effectively what's meant to be a gypsy outfit.
But just the running around.
He'd be dialing in sick for all 4 episodes.
Oh yes, but they're having
no way he'd do
that
it.
madcap chase scene in the market.
So is it just an attempt to really swing the pendulum
Probably
away from Hartnell, and maybe they've swung a little bit too far, and then Moonbase Macatero, they bring it back a bit.
And Troughton's still obviously trying to work it out. I think by the Moonbase, he's got he's pretty much got it. But as you said, Dave, they're just trying everything. They're throwing everything at
They've just added Fraser. So this is Fraser's first story as a regular.
Yeah.
So he's
and of course, he's getting a lot of Ben's lines because they're having to split and do find things.
It doesn't add anything, to be honest with you. I mean,
No, but that was entertaining.
Absolutely.
I was dreading watching it again, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
And especially when Richard, I said, I'll put episode 2 because it's slightly better. But having watched that by itself, and I said probably with a glass of gin and you guys, it was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go home, I think, get the animation out and watch part 4 now, I think.
Yeah, I'd happily put part 4 on. But before we put on the next episode, Richard, we're not going to do Richard's comments for every episode, but I believe you've got a couple of specific ones about this.
Yes, we will talk about the screening here specifically for Underwater Menace because it was a different screening run from the rest of the episodes we're going to look at today.
Yep.
So here in Australia, the Underwater Menace aired in late 1967, and exactly when depended on your location. Now, at this point, Doctor Who was pretty much consistently on at 6:30 on a Friday night, just before the news. Now, due to tape cycling, because each state at this point is obviously responsible for its own programming.
Yes, very big country.
Yes, the screenings are staggered as the tapes are being moved around. It debuted in Perth, Adelaide and Hobart, first up. Now, Part 3 specifically was first shown in Australia on the 6th of October 1967, which is about 9 months after the UK. Victoria is actually the last state to see it, here in Melbourne. Part 3 isn't shown here until the 1st of December.
Oof.
Yeah, now we touched on this during the Gunfighters discussion all those episodes ago, but it was shown as part of a run that started in late March 67 and was the debuts of the final Hartnell stories. So that's starting with the Savages. And it went right through the season 4 Troughtons to the Faceless Ones, which is early 1968. Here in Melbourne, actually, we ended with Macroterra. We didn't see Faceless Ones until later. And then there was a several-month break. Now, Mark, when you lived in the old country, Mark, were you a fan of Cracker Jack?
Cracker Jack! I love Cracker Jack. Yes, I did. I love Cracker Jack.
Did you know there was an Australian version of Cracker Jack, Mark?
I had no idea.
There you go.
Really?
And for those who are unaware of what Cracker Jack is, Mark, what was Cracker Jack?
Well, it was a bit like watching Underwater Menace. It was a kid's show. It was a kid's show, and he used to scream out, "It's 5 o'clock, it's Cracker Jack."
5:15 on a Friday, or whatever it was.
Cracker Jack, yeah.
Yeah. And every time they mentioned Cracker Jack on the show, all the kids in the audience had to scream out, "Cracker Jack!" Yeah, they did. It was like a variety show, I think, for kids, wasn't it? They had games and skits and music and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did an Australian version.
They did. It didn't go for very long. It only went for about a year.
Yeah.
But it was actually aired alongside the Underwater Menace.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, apparently what they did, I did a little bit of research. What they did was they actually got the UK scripts and just crossed out the performers' names, wrote in the Australian people and changed a couple of the jokes and then just recorded them.
Wow. Any exist?
No, God, no. I think they are long since. Well, actually,
That's a real tragedy, that is.
A lot of Cracker Jack doesn't exist because a lot of those kid shows were wiped.
Gone.
Yeah, and that was years after. Yeah.
Right, well, we will keep going with our Troughton Watch. We are now going to move on to another tonal shift here, Rob.
Oh dear.
We're going to move on to Evil of the Daleks Part 2.
Oh, here we go.
Hands in anticipation.
Hashtag real Doctor Who.
Nothing in the world can stop us now.
Absolutely. Apart from a glass of gin and tonic.
We'll be back in no time for you listeners, 25 minutes for us. And we're back. That was Evil of the Daleks Part 2. Gents, what are our memories of this one?
Well, again, I wouldn't have seen it prior to Lost in Time. It was released in 2004 and looked at it with quite a lot of glee. And
You didn't have Daleks the early years?
no, I didn't. I bought very few of the VHS tapes, because I didn't want to buy them, and I had no. Actually, I just had no interest.
I saw that in '87 because I think when the episode and Underwater Menace were recovered, they leaked very quickly. Because it was shown at a convention, I believe, in the UK. So pirate tapes of those came out very quickly. So I was able to acquire a couple of those episodes. And I think they showed them at a club meeting or something like that. So, and of course, unlike my friend Rob here, I did buy Daleks the early years for my sins. And yeah, watching that again was tonally very different from Underwater Menace.
It was. I think it would have been Daleks the early years. I don't remember seeing that at a club meeting.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it would have been... Because I did buy the years tapes, or certainly the Daleks and Cybermen ones.
Yeah, I do remember this being screened at a club meeting, so that would have been the first time I saw it. But yes, Daleks in the Early Years was the third VHS tape I bought
Very
There you
good.
go.
after Dominators and Tomb.
Ooh, there you go.
Interesting.
Well, it was stuff you couldn't get elsewhere.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the early ones I bought were the black and white ones that I couldn't get because I had off-airs of all the colour stuff.
Yeah.
But,
and the Aztecs with fourth, again, something I didn't have a copy of.
That's right.
Wow.
This was always a very big deal back in the day.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, is it still a big deal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, the only answer is yes. I mean, comparing this to what we've just watched before, it's obviously far less madcap.
And
it's sober. It's considered. The direction is striking. Considering the limitations of the cameras back in the '60s, what the vision mixers are able to do, and what the camera work actually does, is quite striking. So from that aspect, it is visually it's a treat really to watch.
Yeah, and look, the performances are far more measured, shall we say?
Sober, I think.
Sober, yes.
I mean, tonally, it is almost a completely different
Absolutely.
show.
Yes,
it is.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the beauty of the show, though, isn't it?
It
doesn't have to be
one
different
thing
things.
all the
same time.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are clearly some flaws in it, and we did say we were getting a little bit sick of Professor Waterfield by the end of...
Did you know the Daleks have his daughter? And he's very concerned.
by the end of it.
If you don't, he'll tell you.
Yes,
Again.
that's right. And look,
being fair, though, I mean, it is a man, confronted with something completely alien, and the fact that his beloved daughter, the only child that survives his the death of his wife, is gone.
For sure. You notice Fraser's straight on her when he sees the picture.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely having a go. Yeah.
As was Jamie.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Maybe I should redo that.
No, I think that worked.
Yes, I think it did, actually. I was going to say, look, the science behind it is just
bonkers.
Is crazy. It is akin, really, to meddling in things you don't understand and summoning up the devil or one of the great old ones or something. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, it is nonsense, but it is fun, and everyone delivers their lines in a great deal of earnestness so that they believe it, so that we believe it.
And look, given they're supposed to be in the 1860s, look, in some ways it's probably period. I won't say appropriate, but there were those sort of household experiments being done in the 1860s, so in the 1800s. So,
and certainly one of the things I do remember from when I saw this for the very first time, aged about 9 or 10, is I was absolutely going along with the Doctor and the whole static. What do you mean static? And just joining those together and everything. And Troughton plays that really well. And there's that bit where Maxtable's trying to explain what's going on. Maxtable says a bit more. Yes, keep going. And then he says a bit more. Yeah, keep going. There's a really good interplay. But then the moment where the Dalek does burst out of the cabinet, and Troughton just gives that.
that's great when he does that slow turn. That's really
and
good.
that's Whittaker playing, his writing strengths come through there because it's obviously a callback to the Daleks, but it is not playing the audience for a fool. I mean, he's laying the breadcrumbs for you to follow along with the Doctor.
Yes.
But also, we've had the big reveal of the Daleks at the end of part 1, obviously in the resolution to part 2.
And the show's actually called The Evil of the Daleks.
No, for sure. But this is an example where
For sure.
The audience knows that the Daleks are already in the story.
Absolutely.
We know the Doctor doesn't, and the anticipation of the Doctor discovering
Yes, we have to get there with him.
Yeah, is a really, really good moment. I agree with what you said, Rob. The direction on this is just incredible. The vision mixing, the wipes, the shots through the equipment at the Doctor.
Yes.
This is just... I mean, I'm genuinely surprised that Derek Martinez doesn't get a lot more credit as a director. No. Given this is extraordinary. Spearhead from Space, everybody says the direction on that is phenomenal.
Yeah, and even the Ice Warriors for its problems, I mean, the
direction's not the issue.
You can't complain. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's a sumptuous production, I think, is the word I like to use, because, I mean, obviously BBC could do period dramas, which is obviously a lot closer to the time then than what it is now.
Yes.
But yeah, amazing. Did anybody miss Ben and Polly?
Who?
Exactly. The Troughton Jamie interplay is starting to happen there as well. I mean, it might have happened before, but we couldn't see it. But in terms of that sort of interplay, it's
and Troughton has clearly settled into, well, this is my approach now.
Yeah,
this is less madcap, more sober.
Yeah,
I actually think it's a shame we don't get a few stories of just the Doctor and Jamie.
Agreed.
Because they're really, really good here, and I don't think Victoria added anything.
No, not really. Because
was Victoria's character as looked down upon before those two stories were found in 2013?
No, I think there was a big reevaluation of Victoria after large episodes of hers were discovered.
They only had episode 3 of Enemy of the World, I think, for a long, long time, and obviously the oldies praised it to the heavens. But now you go,
and Tomb, where she probably doesn't have a huge amount to do really. So
Okay.
But
Well, there was Snowmen. But yes, only a couple of random episodes of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was the big... Well, actually, no, this is pre-season 5, but season 5 was the Victoria, monster season, and that was praised to high hell. I still think it's actually a much better season than people give it credit for these days, but yes, I think there has been a reevaluation. What really strikes me, this is the final story of season 4.
Yeah.
There is no sense here that time or budget or imagination or creativity is run out at the end of this season.
no, it's not time flight, is it?
No, how many seasons in the 70s and 80s do we all sit there and go, well, you can see it's the end of the season, the money's run out.
Yeah.
This is more sumptuous than other stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
although I guess they're probably, because they're making it all year round, there's not that sort of, it's an ongoing production, and I mean, I think they potentially already shot at least part of Tomb, I think, before they had the break. So
That's true.
quite often they would shoot at least one story of the following.
But it looks great. It looks great. Yeah.
But yeah, there's no idea of this as flagging or we're sort of stumbling along the end or everybody's tired or anything. No, absolutely.
No, they're really sort of hitting their stride, aren't they, now?
No, this is obviously part of Evil of the Daleks, the full story, which has long been seen as a big missing classic. I'm holding here the 30th anniversary released novelisation, 288 pages.
Yeah, that was chunky.
By John Peel, fantastic Alistair Pearson cover.
Yeah.
And that I think just went towards really adding to the whole mythos of the story. The visuals there look really good. I still don't quite know how Skaro at the end would actually look if it turned up.
Yeah.
I think the Emperor looks cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know how some of the battles would have quite looked. But
Well, they were done with toys, so I mean, I mean, it probably would have been fairly obvious even on an old TV. But
what's sort of an old school epic? It starts in 20th century London. In this episode, moves to the 1860s, and then it's off to Skaro in 3 episodes' time as well.
Yeah.
So this was a proper end of season epic.
it's hard. It is hard. Probably in some ways, this is the only surviving episode because it is probably it's the exposition episode. We've had the mystery in part 1 and what's going on, and the TARDIS has been taken. This is now we're starting to actually set up the rest of the story. So we do get a couple of info dumps about Professor Waterfield's daughter being taken.
Yes.
Spoilers.
I don't mind those sort of episodes, especially where the actors are top grade and the writing is so well done, and it all coheres. It just feels like it coheres in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, Marius Goering, he's just terrifying.
Yeah.
And Martinez plays with those really big, in the face, Maxwell's face is just taking up more than the screen.
Yeah.
The beard is doing a lot of work.
Being the cigar, yes.
Windsor Davies rocks up without any lines in this episode.
Yes, that's right.
yes,
It's sort of,
yes.
oh, look, it's Winter Day.
Hello, boyo. Yeah.
Oh, my lovely boys.
Not wanting to detract from anybody else who plays the Dalek voices, but is Peter Hawkins like the definitive Dalek voice?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very much so. You can always tell with Roy Skelton that it's Roy Skelton, and Nicholas Briggs, you can definitely tell it's Nicholas Briggs. But Hawkins is definitely, he is the main man. The music was great. I always love noticing the music. Dudley's got a bit of a bit of a cello, a bit of a small orchestra.
Yeah, that's right.
And the music, obviously, the Underwater Menace style synthesizer music would not have. It would have been all over the place. Would have smashed it. But with that small little orchestra and in the context of the setting, works really, really well. So
and he does different music for Daleks, Victoriana. It really does help to set up different aspects around the story.
No, it's really it's a very solid production. It's a shame we can't see any more of it. Allegedly. Yeah. Has anybody seen the animation? Sorry, did anybody...
I've seen the animation. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the stories. I mean, in terms of stories, I always prefer this than to Power. But,
Likewise.
Yeah.
I actually rate the cliffhanger to episode 6 as one of the greatest of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Where the Emperor's revealed and reveals what his plan is.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. Now, has anybody else here met 4 members of the production team from this?
Well, clearly I haven't. So
Fraser Hines,
Yes.
Debbie Watling,
Yes.
Dudley Simpson,
No.
Robert Jewell.
Yes.
Oh yes, Robert Jewell.
So I've met 4 people in the production on this.
Yes.
You've got 3?
I've got 2.
Because you didn't come to the pub when Fraser joined us, did you?
FOMO.
I was FOMO when you found out. Wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, fair enough. Well, anything else to say on Evil?
We didn't talk during it at all.
no.
No, hardly. No.
No.
which is either mean we were...
But we didn't clap at the end either, so...
No, it was a...
Joseph first, where were you?
Exactly. Can you imagine
Him as Baxterbull.
Oh my God. Static? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, we are going to move into Season 5
Yes.
with The Abominable Snowmen Part 2. We'll be back after this. We have just watched The Abominable Snowmen Part 2. Now we will discuss it. What did we all remember of this one walking into it?
Boring.
Remember, or just think now having watched
Well,
it?
it just confirmed to me that it's still boring.
Well, that's a positive note to start.
My goodness, yeah, that was very slow. I think I first saw it would have been on the Troughton years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
VHS,
I
I
think
think.
so too.
Yeah.
Now, I did see a clip from this on the ABC National News in about 1989, 1990, when there was one of those sort of end of the bulletin fun stories about somebody seeking the Abominable Snowman in Tibet. And they showed the clip of the Abominable Snowman from this chasing Jamie and Victoria down. I remember my dad and I both watching this, turning to each other and go, was that what we think it was? So we saw that, but yeah, I reckon it would have been the Troughton Years tape, would have been the first time I saw it.
Look, I might surprise you. I did have a dodgy copy of it, and
No.
yeah. I think I watched it once on that. Watched it again with the Troughton Years, and I tried getting through the animation. I watched episodes 1 and 2. I just stopped. I just haven't really. I always found the story boring.
Now, I had a bootleg copy of the audios for 1 to 4 from the local club, but I didn't have 5 and 6.
Right.
And I'm not sure if I even owned the CD version of it, so it's a story I'm very unfamiliar with. But, Rob...
Well, I've got a Gin and TARDIS exclusive. This is actually the first time I've seen this episode.
Oh,
Really?
Yes. Look, it was, as you all
Well, it's
said...
new Doctor Who as far as Rob's
It's
concerned.
new Doctor Who. Look, it's very slow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see, because I've never seen it before. Yes, it's very slow.
I found that there was a real juxtaposition between different parts of the episode.
Yeah.
And that slowness, I think, is clearly a directorial decision because
yes.
it's very much all the stuff with the Abbott, with Padma Sambhavar. They've clearly made a decision that they're monks, so it's all very slow and careful.
And contemplative,
And
yes.
Whereas the film stuff looks absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
And that clips along. And then the stuff with the Doctor is somewhere in between. So I think that it is a bit of a decision. That said, having watched the animation about a year ago, it doesn't pick up the pace. And not a lot happens in this story.
No, which is interesting because you've got the book there on the table, and I remember reading that as a kid. That was one of the first Doctor Who books I had, and I thought that was a great book.
It's a great book.
It's got a very good reputation, Doctor Who and the Abominable Snowman, yes.
By the great Terence Dix.
Yes, with editorial help from Barry Letts, just to make sure the Buddhist stuff was correct.
Of course. Barry said to me. Yeah. I mean, that episode, I think, was recovered in 1982. It was a big deal at the time because they had 3 Troughton episodes in the archive then, so they put the stock up to number 4. But yeah, tonally, it's all over the shop. There was no music in this episode. Did that help or hinder? I actually think it helped.
I think we're all at a bit of a loss.
I haven't watched that for a very long time. I have to say that was actually nowhere near as good as I remember. Whether I'm conflating my memory of the story with the novel, I'm not sure. But that was nowhere near as good as I remember.
No.
As I said, it's very slow.
It's really slow. Yeah.
There's no memorable characters. There's no
Norman Jones has given it a go.
Norman Jones is good.
As Cruisong. He is having a crack.
Yeah.
But there's no memorable scenes as such.
No.
It's a hard one to sort of grapple with, to be honest.
No, well, we did say the highlight of the episode was probably where Troughton says, come on, Victoria,
That
Jamie's
was
got an idea.
Yeah, that was probably the best. Yes.
Is this an example of Troughton making even a very dull script watchable?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
He's like Capaldi. You can watch anything. Davison. There's a few actors who can make it watchable. And there's a lot of actors who aren't watchable.
What do we think of the Yeti?
Design-wise, looks
Yeah.
pretty good. It's really good.
I think they look good from a distance on film.
Yeah.
The close-ups of them where they look like Marty Monster.
Yeah, we did
And they were
say
bashing
that.
it up. It was a bit sad.
When they were hitting all the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit rude, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, some of the design aspects of the episode, there was the Buddhist the statue of Buddha there,
That
which is
looked
quite
Well,
good.
the temple sets themselves are not bad. I mean, look, on old TV, they would have looked quite convincing.
Yeah.
I mean, the darkness helps a lot. Does cover a lot of
Although we did comment that some of the sets are actually lit too darkly, and now that we're on sort of a multi-generation, copy, even whatever's ended up on the DVD here is not great. And some of those video shots in the dark,
They're pretty.
they're very, very grainy. Compared to the film, which was extremely good.
Yes.
Yeah, that was what they managed to keep those bits and plug them back in, and you can just tell the quality is jarring. And lovely to see a bit of high definition Snowdonia from North Wales.
There you go.
Yes,
back in the valleys.
I drove through that area a few years ago.
Yeah.
It is a bloody terrifying drive.
Oh yes,
because it's the sun sets about 4:30. The roads are tiny, and there's a cliff on one side,
and there's a whole heap of tourist buses on the other.
Trying
to navigate
the
through.
coach they would have taken down there then.
It is. Look, I've done a lot of sort of driving around different parts of Britain. That is one of the just proper white knuckle clenching the wheel drives I've done. Beautiful scenery.
It is great,
and you definitely feel like you're walking. Driving through the dark zone on Rassilon. on Gallifrey, but so is this the first one of the three we've watched that you haven't thought, gee, I'd like to go home and watch the next episode?
I would rather see that wiped.
Now that's a bit extreme.
Personally,
I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, I think if you found more episodes of it, its reputation may be saved. In a sense.
Perhaps if you had the later ones, perhaps when things really start to happen, maybe.
No.
The end credits for episode 6.
So part 5 and 6, when they,
I've watched the animation.
Okay.
And that's about as exciting as it gets. Part 4 is bloody tedious.
Is it a lot of, because I can't recall listening to the soundtrack, and I certainly haven't watched the animation, is it a lot of slow talking interspersed with some character
a lot
moments?
of back and forth and running around from back to the TARDIS up to the cave.
And lots of the Eddie are coming, the Eddie here, the Eddie have gone. We've got what are they up to? And look, the guy who plays Papa Samovar, Wolf Morris, very, very good voice acting. But I think not seeing the character really does drag it out. And, the Abbot really has to carry all those conversations, and he's just standing there sort of praying.
And even that whiteout, but trying to show the point of view from the...
I get what they're doing.
Yeah, but just look...
through the curtain.
I thought there was something wrong with this TV for a minute. I thought, what's going on there?
Is this a better 4-episode story than 6? I mean, it feels like a 4-episode story's been really dragged out.
It should have been most, but you can say most of the trailers, really.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. I think that could be a 4-episode.
And these days it'll probably be like 50 minutes.
It's probably still too long.
I like Tommy's performance. David Spencer, I think it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, who was the life partner of Victor Pemberton.
Oh, there you go.
And apparently they lived quite openly as a couple back at this time. So lovely story there.
Yep.
I don't really have anything else to say. It was
there.
It was something we watched.
I think that there was a lot of merit to it, but you're right. It of the three we've watched so far, it is absolutely the one that dragged.
It did drag a lot. Yeah,
it did.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, we're going.
No, you're right. I don't know what else to say.
Have you got any notes on it to lift it up?
I have at the end, but I'll save that till after we watch the last one.
They made the mistake of finding an episode. That's the only note you have.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We won't drag this out any further then.
Unlike the episode.
We are going to go now to the other end of the monster season.
Yep.
The very end, in fact, of the monster season, and watch The Wheel in Space, Part 6.
Looking forward to this.
Well, we've just watched The Wheel in Space, episode 6. Now, I remember seeing this at a club meeting, one of the cyber days they had back in the very early 1990s, and then again we had...
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark,
for the tapes. Thank you.
and then again had a copy of Cyberman the early years,
yes.
which I've got to admit at the time I thought, wow, isn't Colin Baker really old? And he'd only been out of the show about 10 years when he recorded that.
Oh, my God.
Not even.
No, that'd be right.
Not even 10 years, maybe 5.
Yeah, it was about 5. Yeah, it was about 86 and 93.
Yeah,
92, sorry.
Yeah, back then the 80s felt so long ago.
And now.
What about you gents? Richard, you saw it at the club meeting at the same
pretty
time?
much exactly the same. I'm not sure which was first, getting the tape or the club meeting. I can't remember. Probably the club meeting, I think.
No, the club meeting was definitely before it was released.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Rob? This is another one you've not watched for the first time.
I'm pretty certain that I picked up second hand the tape, the VHS tape, and I probably watched some of it. I have no recollection of seeing any of this, so it's fairly good chance that this is the first time I've watched it. So clearly I've been a very bad boy. So that this inflicted on me.
And what did you think, given its...
How is it possible that the Underwater Menace 3 has been the highlight of this entire
Absolutely,
session?
and that's actually what I was thinking. How is it that the Underwater Menace is the best thing we've watched today?
Oh no! Look,
Evil is well put together, and look, it was
Entertainment value.
It was, but for entertainment value, absolutely.
This was the very definition of the word anticlimax. They
It
just
was.
sauntered into the end of it, and then they sauntered out of the story. I mean, it was just...
It was,
I understand that the idea of we've got to go on this quest, we've got to get the time vector generator from the silver carrier, we've got to get it back, and that's going to charge the cannon up to be able to destroy the Cybermen. I get that on paper that's a very exciting sequence of events, but you're right, it doesn't really play out. And if you're doing it today, there would be some sort of build-up of, we've got to get it in the machine, with the countdown's coming down. There'll be something.
They'd actually be under a direct threat.
Yeah.
Does this show up the limitations of Doctor Who, especially for the 60s? That if you have a structure like that, you're not able to realise it within a tiny set with limited resources.
I think that if your climax hinges on a special effect in 1969, or even 1968, I think this was. 68, you are probably in a bit of trouble. I walked into this very aware this was the weaker of the four cyber stories, but also when you're up against Moonbase, Tomb, and Invasion, well, a lot of Doctor Who stories can't compete with those ones.
True.
I think it's a really interesting piece of 1960s sci-fi. The Cybermen, I thought, looked good. The wheel looks good. Some of the other effects don't look good, but you've got that overtly, desperately multicultural, multinational sort of cast. You've got women like Tanya and Zoe and Gemma Corman. So there's that sense to really have that almost sort of Gene Roddenberry.
Also, the picture of Gemma Corman,
which is really bad.
The really obvious still of Gemma Corman, yes. But there is this sense of that very Gene Roddenberry-esque. In the future, we have
multicultural.
It's multicultural. It's multi-gendered. Yada yada yada. So I think that looks really good. Everything is solid state tech. Everything's big lasers and very physical sort of stuff. So I find it really interesting. Troughton's good. All the regulars are good, including Wendy Padbury, who's
he's great.
She's acting Debbie Watlam off the screen in her first story. Let's be honest.
It's just there.
It's better than part 3.
Yeah,
which is, as Richard described earlier with part 2 of Evil, like part 3 of Wheel is now we've had all the excitement on the silver carrier, we've got to the wheel, let's explain the wheel, let's get everything in place. That is a very dull episode.
And Troughton's asleep for most of it.
And Troughton's asleep for most of it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't a classic.
No.
It wasn't as entertaining as Underwater Menace. It wasn't as very well done as Evil.
No.
It's better than Snowmen.
Yes, but not by much.
Oh, come on. It's better
Come
than
on.
I thought,
Come
probably.
on.
It had something blacked up. I mean, Christ.
And look, Troughton wanting to turn on the sexual air supply.
Yes, what was that about? We had to go back and listen to that, didn't we?
We did,
sure,
but it just felt so inconsequential, probably, at the end. And it was just like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Just on that note that Mark mentioned as a passing comment then, we did spend a lot of the episode looking at the character of Rico and going, who is that?
Yep.
And when the credits rolled and we saw it was Donald Sumter blacked up, that was a genuine moment of, Christ, it really is Donald Sumter.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Rassilon himself.
Yeah. As I said, it just felt so inconsequential. And it was very much, well, when you see those sort of, let's face it, pretty bad special effect of the Cybermen being flicked off into space. It's kind of, is that it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not even like we've taken care of the Cybermen. It's just like, oh yeah, they're gone.
Did you not say that the director overspent?
Yes.
And was never
he was never asked back.
I'm trying to work out where that was on display.
I think it might have been
probably in the sets.
carrier.
I mean, that's a fairly elaborate set.
Yeah, that's true.
But the effects, probably the space effects and that, look, okay, fine, they don't look fantastic, but that would have taken time and money to set up.
That's fair enough.
The ops room is a big, it's almost a multi-leveled set as well.
Yeah.
That is a big set, big extras in there, a large cast.
Yeah.
I can sort of see it. I think the Cybermen, as I say, looked good. I wonder if you watched episodes 4, 5 and 6 together, there would be that ramp up and that build up that sort of explained and justified the ending, or whether... But then again, these things have to stand alone.
Yeah.
Because you only watch one a week.
Yeah,
no, that's true.
And
that's definitely true.
It was, and Jarvis walking towards Asylum, getting ready to box him. I screamed out. It's like Merca.
Yeah, it is.
When what's her face? Ingrid Pitt was going a toe for toe at the Merca. So it's just,
which is a shame because Jarvis is a really interesting character. He is probably the apotheosis of the intransigent base commander that we've sort of seen from 10th Planet onwards.
Yeah.
But by the time he's now sort of it's all too much. I'm going for a walk now.
It's the same as Ice Warriors. It's the same character trait of the base commander 3 stories before. So they're starting to get in a rut.
I remember when Richard and I guested on the 42 Doomsday episode on the Troughton years.
Yeah.
I actually did a bit of a table of all the Troughton tropes. I think we was the only one that ticked every box
all
of
5 or whatever it was.
It was like a monster story, a multinational cast, intransigent base commander, a base under whatever. There were 5 or 6 tropes.
Yeah.
And this was the one that ticked every single box.
We screamed out bingo at the end.
I mean, for me anyway, for all its faults, it is definitely worth seeing simply because it's a window into a different time of TV production.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whilst it certainly has its limitations, and it's definitely not something that I'll race back to in the next 20 or 30 years. I mean, it's interesting to watch. I mean, all these episodes have been interesting to watch on a certain level. Some more interesting than others.
Well, from a character perspective of Troughton, he's wacky in Underwater Menace.
Yes.
And the last 3 is much more the Doctor, as it were. So,
what we come to understand
the Troughton Doctor now. So that's been quite interesting from that.
He's probably at his most sedate in this one.
Yeah.
Comatose.
Well, he was in episode 3. He's phoning it in. So
I think you're right, Rob. It's fascinating watching this now, thinking that the moon landing was only 6 months after this.
Yeah.
And then you look at sort of all these ideas that they had in the 1960s of, well, in 100 years' time, we're going to have space stations and moon bases and all of this sort of thing. And you sit here now and you go, well, A, not only has none of it happened, but B, there's no interest in any of it actually happening. That sort of adventure, that white-head of technology, that sense of
we're going to fizzled out. Yeah,
it's all just fizzled out. Yeah, it's kind of sad in a way. It's a whole different perspective of the future.
Our parents' generation had that belief or outlook that we were going to escape the silly bombs.
Space was the final frontier. That's right.
Yeah. But
as it used to be called.
Yes.
And now we're slaves to technology ourselves.
Well, a different form of technology, isn't it? We've turned inward, actually.
We have.
Sorry to get philosophical, but Anyway.
Well, as Seeds of Death predicted.
Yes, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one that looks a little bit prophetic now.
Yeah. Especially with a phone machine.
Any comments on the Cybermen themselves?
Big.
They're
How
a bit
big?
chubby,
Bulky.
I thought. Bulky.
A bit dirty, I noticed. There were marks on that. I mean, this is the benefit of having, a cleaned up
big screen TV, but it did actually.
I like the teardrops in the eyes.
Yeah, and you can actually see where they've been bought out too. I think there was sort of the...
the old dear Jerry doing the modification in
the costumes had obviously taken a bit of punishment during filming.
Yes.
And hadn't been touched up.
No.
There's very obvious scratch down one of the helmets.
Yeah. They look better in Invasion. I like the Invasion, a bit more sleeker. And not as many cables seem to be flying off them at any moment. So
Tomb for me.
Tomb.
I think Tomb has the right balance of sleek and sexy.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, having watched 4 episodes of Troughton over the last couple of hours, any big thoughts on the era, the Doctor? I'll start by
he's great.
He's great.
Yeah.
The imagination in all 4 stories is epic.
Yeah.
The execution, probably more often than not, doesn't meet the ambition.
Very good, yes.
No, probably not. Probably not. Look, I'd give a shout out to Fraser. He's been great in the ones,
where he's been given something to do.
Definitely, and Zoe, and Wendy Padbury for that one
as you said,
she's great. I mean,
And we've met both of them. Well,
we have.
We have.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Yes.
It's a bizarre era, and we've watched nothing from season 6 as well, which is a whole different thing again.
Exactly, because season 6 was always deemed the worst. But now I think
we're
season...
doing Space Forest next, aren't we?
It's sitting there.
The invasion is not too far away in the future of the show, and that is an excellent example of 60s, sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. I like season 6, even though it's just basically flying by the seat of its pants, isn't it? And this is actually the same thing. Got to think about, these guys were busting their balls putting out an episode once a week. So
But again, when we were all growing up, season 6 was the Troughton era because we had Mind Robber and Crotons on free-to-air TV.
Yeah.
The videos of Seeds of Death and the War Games were fairly early out.
Right.
The Invasion leaked copies were pretty profuse because it was seen as a
Dominators.
classic. Dominators was out. So we'd sort of seen all that. We almost took that era for granted, whereas seasons 4 and 5 were this totally unknowable, unwatchable,
undiscovered country.
Yeah. Whereas now we can see a lot of season 5, and I think season 6 does hold up as the better.
It does, yeah.
But look, it's a fascinating era of just ambition that, the Hartnell era probably has even more ambition, but for some reason just holds together better. I don't know whether it's the production team. I mean, look, we have heard, I know I've heard personally from them, when they come, Terrence Dix and Wendy Pamery talk about what absolute alcoholics the production team was in the Troughton era, and just they were drunk by the end of lunch, and that was not so much cheap to the point that I think when Terrence Dix first met Barry Letts, he was sort of like at lunchtime, I guess we're going to the pub now, and Barry's like, no, why would we do? Oh, thank God you're here. I've been waiting for someone to,
Yeah, well, he did do the thing where he'd go into the office and shut the door, basically, so he could get some work done.
While the others went to the bar. So, I just think that there's we can go into that in more detail, but it's been fun to watch these 4.
It has
been. It's been contrasts.
It has.
It's been really good.
And I would definitely say to people, go and check out the Underwater Menace. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Possibly watch it with friends, but
it's watch it with friends.
And booze.
And booze.
It's the same type of fun, like watching Horns of Nymon.
Oh, yes.
A couple of quick notes from you, Richard.
Yes. Well, as we said with Underwater Menace, the other 3 stories, other 3 episodes we watched today were shown as part of a separate transmission block. Now, that started in June and July 1968 here in Australia. That run started with Tomb of the Cybermen and then basically went through season 5 up to The Wheel in Space, and that ran to mid-1969.
Yeah.
Because we're still firmly in the area where each state is largely responsible for its own programming, the screenings are staggered as the films are being moved around. There is actually one day when apparently all 7 episodes of Evil of the Daleks were on somewhere in Australia.
Wow.
Where are they?
That's exactly right. Well, a lot of these ones ended in Hobart, but there you go.
Yes.
There you go. There is a bit of variation in the exact screening times between states, but look, generally we're in a late afternoon sort of pre-news slot. Now, Evil of the Daleks was shown out of sequence here in Australia, and it was screened between Web of Fear and Fury from the Deep, because naturally that's where it fits. Yes. It wasn't shown with the rest of Series 4, because when it was offered for sale, it's in that period where the BBC are having one of their periodic arguments with Terry Nation over selling the Dalek stories, so it initially wasn't made available for sale. Now, when Doctor Who comes back for this run, it's on Friday nights across the country. Now, between Abominable, Snowmen and the Ice Warriors, it moves to Sunday afternoons. I'm sure you're all old enough to remember this.
I was at church.
Yeah. Because Evil was shown out of sequence, the first one of these obviously shown here was Abominable Snowmen 2, which debuted here in August-September 1968, depending on where you were. The first Australian screening of Part 2 is in Sydney on Friday the 9th of August. It was shown here a week later, on the 16th, and that's about 10 months after the UK. So we got these, for that time, probably reasonably quickly.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think. Evil of the Daleks debuted here in early 1969, again specifically Part 2, again debuted in Sydney, and that was on the 19th of January. Here in Melbourne again, it's a week later on Australia Day, 26th of January, and again the last date is Hobart, and that's about 18 months after the UK because of the delays. And then we get to the end of this run of episodes with The Wheel in Space, which debuted in April-May 69. Now, the first screening is the 18th of May, again in Sydney, and again a week later here in Melbourne, and again finished its run in Hobart. That's pretty much the end of New Doctor Who until into 1970, when they debuted The Dominators and went through season 6. That's during April 1970. Because different states did the majority of their own programming, Doctor Who's actually in different places, it's paired with different programs. Lassie was quite a popular one, shown after Lassie. It was a series called The Valiant Varneys, which was a comedy series where Reg Varney from On the Buses, this is pre On the Buses, but Reg Varney telling tall tales of his ancestors. Arthur and the Square Knights of the Round Table.
Oh.
Yes, which was an Australian cartoon based on King Arthur. John Milligan was one of the voices.
Okay.
Firecrackers, which was an ATV comedy series, so again UK, set in a fire station. Yes. A few shows that are missing now, they would have screened, one of which was Hereward the Wake, which was a kids' historical series set after the Norman conquest and the opposition to their new Norman overlords in the UK, right. And the Silver Sword. Now, as we noted, Wheel in Space ends the run of Season 5, Troughton's plus Evil. However, for those interested in missing episodes, just to wrap this up, this is also around the time when the ABC are doing the school holiday repeats of Doctor Who, around 2 to 3 p.m. on weekday afternoons. Now, specifically the period covered by these episodes, which is October 67 through to when they screen the Wheel in Space Part 6, includes the school holiday repeat screenings and final contemporaneous showings here of the Crusades through to the Faceless Ones.
Wow.
Yes, and that run of school holiday things actually continues until the end of the summer holidays in 1970, which take us through the final repeats of Evil in Season 5. So they actually churn through them quite quickly. Wow. There's a period there, something like Macra Terror had its nighttime screening and then its school holiday screening about 6-7 months later and then gone. Yeah. So there you go. Read
Did they show them all together on those school holiday screenings? One episode.
Occasionally they'd show one or two an afternoon, but quite often it was just one a day because they put on a lot of kid shows, sort of in the mid-afternoon slots.
That's right. They used to, didn't they?
And Doctor Who was in there, but that's when a lot of those later Hartnells and all the Troughtons were repeated.
No doubt recorded by our Camberwell hoarder, and then dumped.
And then dumped in the middle of 3
years ago.
Actually, interesting though, when the ABC sent the films back in 75.
That's right.
So looking at this set, there's probably a few of those ones that were returned from Australia, like Abominable Snowmen.
Well, I think they said, didn't they, the Underwater Menace and...
2 was, and episode 2 was, but Wheel in Space 3 could have come back from Australia. Evil to Part 2 probably did as well. So, thank you, ABC.
Yeah, there you go. But that's how they were screened here.
Very good. Thank you, Richard.
All right, well, thank you for joining us for this Troughton special, this Lost in Time special of Gin and TARDIS.
Yep.
Now, this has been a bit of an experiment with the format. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, have feedback, please do let us know. Maybe if it all works, we'll come back in a year's time and do a Hartnell one or something. We'll think about that. But we did say earlier we are now starting to work through second views of different Doctors.
Yes.
We've decided next time we're going to watch some of the great man, John Pertwee.
Hey!
And once again, we will have a listener poll out there for you. And there aren't that many 4-part John Pertwees either.
No.
Particularly when I think we have sort of vetoed Spearhead as being the one we've seen many times.
Yeah.
So to that end, the nominations for you to vote on will be from Season 8, The Claws of Axos.
Season 9, Day of the Daleks.
Season 11, Death to the Daleks.
And from Season 10, so there's one from different seasons, I'll do 3 Doctors. I am down for Monster of Peladon if you blokes want to go through that.
Sadly, it's 6 parts, doesn't meet the rules.
Sadly, it is non-canon, so and there's not there's not enough gin that can get me through that.
Or on that note, I've been Dave.
I've been Rob.
I've been Mark.
I'm Richard.
Check out 14 into Doomsday, check out Spacefall, and keep on watching the Doctor Who show. We'll be back with next week with Alternate Galaxies on Star Trek 6.
Ooh.
Oh,
Lovely.
But
that's a good one, that one.
We'll talk again soon.
Atlantis is drowning, Sarof's gone mad. Daleks haunt emotions, well that ends bad. Cybermen are hiding in the wheel's back room, and Yeti in the mountains bring a monastery's doom. Gin and TARDIS clinking through the night, a lost in the 60s and it's in black and white. Polly's in trouble with the fish folk from the sea. Victoria's an orphan, Zoe sharp as can be. The Emperor is shouting, the monks are possessed. The wheel is in orbit, the base is distressed. The Doctor just grins and pulls strings on the plot, but good luck finding footage, the beeb wiped the lot. So cheers to the monsters, companions and sets, to telesnaps, recon and fan-made cassettes. Gin and TARDIS forever, raise a glass, take a sip, for Atlantis, Daleks, Yeti and a Cyberman ship.